Now, there are a couple different things you'll want to look at if you're trying to do some research for a particular NBA slate. First place you're going to start projecting minutes, if you're trying to do that on your own, at least. There are a couple different places you can start. One, you can just simply look at season averages. If you want to get an idea of how often a player is just simply going to be on the floor. Sometimes we have guys, let's say Mitchell Robinson, for instance, who could play anywhere from 14 minutes to 28 minutes simply because of foul trouble. The average might end up being in the mid-low 20-ish area. That might be a little bit more representative for someone like him. Or you could take a little bit closer look at recent playing time. If someone started off on the bench and slowly worked their way into the starting lineup, the average might not get you there, but you might be able to take a look at recent games to try to project those minutes forward for that particular day. And finally, you'll want to look into game logs. See when guys are going on the floor, coming off the floor. Try to understand the substitution pattern for the coach. That will help you understand the rotations a little bit more, which will then in turn make your minutes projections a little bit more accurate. Now, once you have everybody set from a minutes perspective, I believe the next spot is going to be for you to adjust rates. In particular, usage rates and rebounding rates on the off chance that someone is out of their normal starting lineup. Now, this isn't totally a scientific process. There's going to be a little bit of wiggle room here. You're going to see different rates for different players when other guys are on or off the floor. You definitely want to use these on-off tools to help you in your quest to figuring out these rates. For example, last season, James Harden's usage rate would skyrocket if Russell Westbrook was not on the floor. If Westbrook was out, you saw a monster boost to James Harden usage, all the way up to almost 50% usage rate. That is a massive change in your baseline projection just by knowing that Russell Westbrook would not be on the floor with him. You have to pay attention to these things. It's especially important for guys with very large rebounding rates, very large assist rates, very large usage rates. The swings in replacing guys with a high usage rate to a low usage rate will have a trickle-down effect through the rest of your lineup. Then finally, you'd like to pay close attention to pace and total for the game. Total being the Vegas game total. Now, you want to see higher totals. It's not a thing that you have to pay attention to, but the higher the game total, the more fantasy points you would expect from that game. Now, the pace, on the other hand, is going to be how many possessions exist in a 48-minute game. The more possessions, the more opportunities for fantasy points. So high pace, high total is going to be what you're looking for. You can estimate pace by taking one team's pace, multiplying it by another team's pace, their opponent, not just a random team. Divide that by the league average pace. That'll give you an idea of how many possessions will be in that particular game. It's going to be good for estimates. It's going to take a little bit before the noise comes out of all that information at the start of the season. You might just be better off using league averages, given a little bit of a bump. But I think those are the three main tenets to trying to do some of your research. Project the minutes, adjust your rates, identify games with high pace and high totals.